My neighbor was complaining that their mower likes to stop running when they use it in the thicker part of the grass. They asked for my advice on what was going on, and I had to explain the issues that I was seeing, and I hate to say it, but all the issues were related to the user and not to the mower. However, we can fix most all the issues, and one of them might be easier than I thought it would be. The only problem is I don't know how well it's going to work. In today's video, we look at this Troy-built mower, and the problem is that the mower likes to stop running when cutting tall grass. Now, this may not sound like a big issue, and I can already hear you yelling at your phone or your computer how we need to fix it, but you can tell a person all day long what they need to do. However, the biggest issue is, are they willing to take your advice? And I hate to tell you what the answer is going to be. Now, I'm going to try and repair this mower. However, it may not be the exact repair you need to make to yours. We'll explore other options later in the video. Now, we're only going to mention what these other options could be. We don't have enough time to look into them, but if you need more information on these options, you're welcome to ask as many questions as you need to. The first thing I need to do is look over this mower and see if there are any reasons why this mower would have difficulties cutting tall grass. We need to see if the mower is down on power, and if so, can we fix it? Now, this mower does have a self-propel system, and it is used while they mow, so there could be an issue with the drive that could be robbing power from the engine. The other issue is, of course, the height your mower is set to. If the grass is really tall and you leave the height set at your normal setting, it could put more load on your engine, and this load could be enough to basically stop your engine. That means you might have to consider raising your mower so it makes it easier for your engine. Another possibility is a clogged air filter. This would reduce the amount of air getting into your engine, and if that happens, it's going to reduce how much power your engine is able to make. Now, this one is dirty and there are clumps of debris in it, but to be honest, it's not enough to cause a drastic drop in power. I went ahead and used the shop vac to clean it, and it should be good enough that I'm going to reuse it. If it's still an issue, I do have a new filter for it, but I'm going to wait to see if it needs it. I also want to check the oil and make sure that it's at the right level. Now, always remember to wipe the dipstick clean first and then reinsert it back into the engine. As you can see, there's plenty of oil in it and it also looks fresh, but what if the oil level was very low or there was none on the dipstick? It could mean the engine is lacking oil lubrication, which would then cause more wear to the engine and reduce its power. The next possibility when it comes to putting more load on the engine is if the blade was dull. This would make the engine work harder to cut through the grass versus if the blade was razor sharp. Now, this blade is not terribly dull, but it could do with another sharpening. However, I don't think it's the reason why the engine stops. To me, the main reason why this engine keeps stopping is because it's set up to mulch, and part of that mulching process is the blade in the deck, specifically how clean of grass the deck is. If the deck is packed with grass, this will stifle the mulching process and basically try and stop the engine. Now, this is not just a theory. I've seen this happen to my own mower. After realizing my mower was having difficulties, I looked under the mowing deck and realized it was packed with grass. And that brings us to the main focus of this video, which is the washout port that comes on some mowers. Now, these are advertised as an easy way to clean the underside of your mower, but do these really work? I really don't know the answer to that, so I'm going to try it out. Now, this deck isn't that bad, but it hasn't been cleaned in some time. Now, to start off with, I'm going to hook up the garden hose, turn on the water, and start the engine, and then basically see what happens. So it's been running for only a few minutes, but I didn't see it working like it's supposed to. In fact, there seems to be quite a bit of water leaking from the fitting and nothing was coming out from under the deck. Even though it didn't seem like it was working correctly, I still want to check to see what it looks like. So it's definitely wet under here, but I don't see that any of the grass has come loose from the deck. I think there's something wrong with the wash port, so I think we need to see how the water is coming out of the port because I don't think it's spraying water like it should. As you can see, it looks like the washout port is only dribbling out water instead of spraying it. That means most of the water is coming out on top of the deck and not making it to where it needs to be. Now, to properly clean it, I'm going to have to remove the port from the mowing deck. Now, this mower is around 5 years old, and more than likely, there's only grass that's stuck in the openings. That's because this port has never been used in all those years. Now, soaking this port in hot water would also work, but that would take time, so to save time, I'm just going to pick out the grass. After a few minutes, I think it's clear, so I'll reinstall it, turn on the water, and see if more water will come out of the port now. After turning on the water, there's a lot less water leaking onto the deck, and I can see it spraying onto the ground. If I lift up on the deck, you can see the pattern is a lot better along with the volume. The next thing to do is to start the engine and let it run for a few minutes. Now, there wasn't that much fuel in the tank, so it ran for about 10 minutes, which I think is plenty of time for it to clean the grass off the underside of the mowing deck. I'm going to lay it on its side so we can get a real good look at it. So this is what it looks like after a short cleaning and a second longer cleaning, and as you can see, it's not clean at all. In fact, I don't think it's done any bit of good. I just wasted a lot of time and gasoline trying to use the washout port, which was a huge disappointment. Now, while the mower is on its side, I'm going to take this opportunity to sharpen the blade, but even with it sharp, I still need to clean the deck. So what am I missing here? Yes, I could lower the deck 2 more positions, but is that really going to help anything? Do I really need to be on concrete for this to work, or am I just not letting it run long enough? The first thing I'm going to address is the run time. To deal with it, I'm going to put a fair amount of fuel into the tank, then I'm going to let it run for a very long time and see what the results are. As for the height adjustment and being on concrete, they're asking you to do that just to make better use of the water, and so you can see when the water turns from green to clear. But if that's necessary, why not suggest running the mower in about 3 inches of standing water? That seems like it would be better than lowering the mower on concrete. So I'm going to explain why the cleaning it's been through probably hasn't helped it. The grass that's clumped under the mowing deck has been there for at least a year or so. The last time it was cleaned was over a year ago when I did a video on it because it didn't start. I didn't bother filming the cleaning, but I cleaned it right after removing the blade to sharpen it. That means it's had a very long time to basically bond into place to the plastics and metal under the mowing deck. Now at this point, you'd basically have to scrape the grass off of it after giving it a good soaking, of course, but I still want to see if a very long cleaning is going to do any sort of good for it. To be honest, I didn't expect this to work, but I wanted to prove myself wrong. If the grass hasn't come off after this cleaning, I think I'm going to have to physically scrape the deck to clean it along with using a scrub brush. Now the mower's been running for quite some time now, so I think it's finally time to see how well it's doing. So according to the timer on the screen, it's been running for over 14 minutes, and I'm really hoping it looks even slightly better than when we first started this process. And well, it looks to me like very little has changed. The loose grass that was on the outer edge is gone, but the stuff that's clumped up is still there. That means if I want to improve this mower's mulching ability, I'm going to have to scrape it off. Now once I scrape off the clumps of grass, scrub on it for a little bit, and then give it a good washing, I think the wash port will do wonders for it, but there's one problem. I think you have to use it every time you mowed, otherwise each time you didn't use it, the grass will be more difficult to remove. Now to be honest with you, I had thought about putting a wash port on my Honda mower, but after using this one, I don't think I want it anymore. The reason is I find that using the garden hose after every mow to be very tedious, and also because I'm pretty lazy. I'd rather clean the deck sporadically than run the mower for a few minutes after each usage. I think it's just a better use of my time. From the comments I've gotten from the shorts video, it seems like the viewers also agree with me. Most feel as though it's just quicker and easier just to tip the mower over and use a scraper to remove the grass versus hooking up the garden hose and using the gasoline to clean it. Now, if you don't want your mower to stop while cutting tall grass, I would suggest raising your mower. Now, it doesn't have to be monster truck height, but even a slight increase would work. Also, if your mower comes with one, I would also consider using the side chute instead, which would almost guarantee that you won't stall your engine out, unless you're cutting wet grass, of course. The other thing to do is when you get to the thick grass, slow down and don't use your self-propel in that section. That will give you more power to the blade as well as keeping your mower from bogging down. Once you get past the tall stuff, you can then use the self-propel. In the end, to reduce the chances for this mower to bog down and stop, I cleaned the air filter, raised the height by 1 notch, and sharpened the blade. There is also one good piece of advice, and that's to not let your grass get too tall, so keeping a regular mowing schedule would help out in that department. So my question is, do you use the washout port on your mower? I hate to say it, but most people don't even realize what I'm talking about, but I still have to wonder, even after I point it out to them, would they really use it? Personally, I don't intend on wasting my time or gasoline using it ever again. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate your time here. Please feel free to ask me any questions about this project or your own projects, and I hope to see you in the next video.